Think your meal prep is challenging? These 15 simple meals the Mayans ate to stay alive would make your weekly grocery run look like a luxury vacation. And while you're complaining about choosing between 17 different types of pasta sauce, the ancient Maya were creating nutritious, filling meals from whatever they could grow, hunt, or gather in one of the world's most unforgiving environments. Let's start with the foundation of Maya nutrition, the meal that kept entire civilizations running. Atole wasn't just breakfast. It was liquid sustenance that could be prepared quickly, consumed on the go, and provided steady energy for hours of back-breaking work. Think of it as the original protein shake, except it actually worked. The basic recipe was deceptively simple. Ground corn mixed with water and cooked until it reached a porridge-like consistency. But the Maya weren't content with bland gruel. They'd add ground cacao for chocolate atole, honey when available for sweetness, or chili peppers for heat and flavor. The wealthy might include vanilla or other precious spices, but even the poorest families could make a nutritious version. Archaeological evidence shows that Maya families consumed atole multiple times daily. Workers would drink it before heading to the fields. Children would have it as their primary meal, and it served as the base for more elaborate dishes when other ingredients were available. It was the nutritional backbone that allowed the Maya to build their incredible civilization. From liquid nutrition, we move to the Maya's most important solid food. Tortillas weren't just bread to the Maya. They were plates, utensils, and the foundation of every meal. But these weren't the soft, white tortillas you buy at the grocery store. Maya tortillas were made from corn that had been processed through nixtamalization, a complex technique that increased the nutritional value and made the corn easier to digest. Maya women would spend hours each day grinding corn on stone metates, creating the masa that would become tortillas. The physical labor was intense. The grinding motion worked the entire upper body, and the stone-on-stone action required significant strength. But this daily ritual produced food that was far more nutritious than anything we can buy today. These tortillas served multiple purposes in Maya meals. They were wrapped around other foods, used to scoop up stews and sauces, and eaten plain when nothing else was available. The Maya understood that corn needed to be the foundation of their diet, and tortillas were the most efficient way to consume large quantities of this essential grain. But tortillas were just the delivery system for the Maya's most important complete meal. Beans and squash with corn created what nutritionists now call a perfect protein, a combination that provides all the essential amino acids the human body needs. The Maya didn't understand the science, but they knew this combination kept them strong and healthy. This wasn't just throwing ingredients together randomly. The Maya had perfected the ratios over centuries of experimentation. The corn provided carbohydrates and some protein. The beans added more protein and fiber. And the squash contributed vitamins and healthy fats from its seeds. Together, they created a nutritionally complete meal that could sustain hard physical labor. The cooking method was equally important. Everything was prepared in large clay pots over wood fires, which added subtle smoky flavors and allowed for slow, even cooking. The beans would simmer for hours until tender. The squash would be added toward the end to maintain its texture, and the corn would be incorporated as tortillas or as whole kernels. This combination was so nutritionally sound that many Maya families ate little else during certain seasons. When other foods were scarce, beans, squash, and corn provided everything the human body needed to survive and thrive. It's a lesson in nutritional efficiency that modern dietitians are just beginning to appreciate. Speaking of nutritional efficiency, The Maya created another complete meal from ingredients that most modern people would consider inedible. Cacao wasn't just for chocolate, it was a protein-rich food that provided essential fats and minerals. But Maya cacao preparations bore no resemblance to modern hot chocolate. The Maya would grind cacao beans into a paste, then mix it with water, chili peppers, and various spices to create a bitter, frothy drink. This wasn't dessert, it was serious nutrition. Cacao is packed with protein, healthy fats, iron, and magnesium. The chili peppers added vitamin C and compounds that aided digestion and circulation. Only the wealthy could afford pure cacao drinks regularly, but even common people would consume cacao mixed with cornatole or other ingredients during special occasions. The combination of cacao and corn created a nutritionally dense meal that provided sustained energy and essential nutrients that were hard to find in other foods. From luxury ingredients, we moved to something much more accessible, but equally nutritious. Chia seeds weren't a modern superfood trend. They were a Maya survival food that could provide complete nutrition in tiny packages. A handful of chia seeds could sustain a Maya warrior for an entire day of travel or combat. The Maya preparation was simple but effective. Chia seeds were mixed with water to create a gel-like consistency, then flavored with lime juice, honey, or fruit. The seeds would absorb the liquid and expand, creating a filling, nutritious meal that was easy to digest and provided sustained energy. What made chia so valuable was its nutritional density. These tiny seeds contained complete proteins, omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, calcium, and antioxidants. They could be stored for years without spoiling, making them perfect emergency food. Maya traders would carry chia on long journeys, and warriors would consume it before battles. The Maya also ground chia into flour for making flatbreads or mixed it with other ingredients to create more complex dishes. But the simple preparation, seeds, water, and basic flavorings provided everything needed for survival in a package that weighed almost nothing and took up minimal space. But when chia wasn't available, the Maya turned to another seed that was even more versatile. Amaranth wasn't just food, it was medicine, ceremony, and sustenance all rolled into one. The Maya used every part of the amaranth plant, the leaves as vegetables, the seeds as grain, and the whole plant for various medicinal purposes. Amaranth seeds were prepared similarly to chia, but with different nutritional benefits. They contained even more protein than chia and could be popped like popcorn, ground into flour, or cooked whole like rice. The Maya would often combine amaranth with corn to create a more complete protein profile. Amaranth's religious significance made it even more important to Maya culture. The seeds were used in ceremonies and offerings, connecting daily nutrition with spiritual practice. This integration of food and faith ensured that amaranth remained a central part of Maya diet even when other foods were available. From seeds and grains, we move to the Maya's primary source of animal protein. Turkey wasn't just for special occasions. It was the most important domesticated animal in Maya society, providing meat, eggs, and feathers for various uses. But Maya turkey preparation was nothing like your Thanksgiving dinner. Maya turkeys were smaller and leaner than modern varieties, requiring different cooking methods to remain tender and flavorful. The most common preparation involved slow cooking the meat in underground pits lined with hot stones. The turkey would be wrapped in leaves and buried with the coals, cooking slowly for hours until the meat was tender enough to fall off the bone. The Maya also made extensive use of turkey eggs, which were smaller but more flavorful than chicken eggs. These were often prepared simply, boiled, roasted in ashes, or mixed with other ingredients to create more complex dishes. Turkey eggs provided essential proteins and fats that were difficult to obtain from plant sources alone. But turkey was expensive and not always available, so the Maya relied heavily on another protein source that required no domestication. Fish and seafood weren't just coastal foods. Maya trade networks brought dried fish hundreds of miles inland, making it accessible to communities far from the ocean. Fresh fish was prepared simply but effectively. Whole fish were wrapped in leaves and roasted over coals or filleted and cooked on hot stones. The Maya understood that fish cooked quickly and could become tough if overcooked, so they developed techniques for cooking it just until it flaked easily. Dried fish was even more important for inland communities. The preservation process concentrated the flavors and proteins while making the fish shelf-stable for months. Dried fish could be eaten as is, ground into powder for flavoring other dishes, or rehydrated in stews and soups. From aquatic protein, we moved to something that required more skill and luck to obtain. Venison and other game meats were luxury foods for most Maya, but they were prepared with techniques that maximized both flavor and nutrition. The Maya understood that wild game was leaner than domestic animals and required different cooking methods. The most common preparation involved cutting the meat into thin strips and drying it to create what we now call jerky. This preservation method concentrated the proteins and flavors while making the meat shelf-stable for extended periods. Maya hunters could preserve an entire deer in this way, providing protein for weeks or months. Fresh venison was often prepared in stews with vegetables and spices. The Maya would slow cook tough cuts until they became tender, while more tender cuts were roasted quickly over high heat. They understood that different parts of the animal required different cooking methods to achieve optimal results. But meat wasn't always available, so the Maya developed sophisticated techniques for preparing plant-based proteins. Tipari beans weren't just any legume. They were specifically adapted to arid conditions and provided more protein per serving than most other beans. These small, dense beans were a staple food that could grow where other crops failed. The preparation of tipari beans required patience and skill. The beans were extremely hard when dried and needed long soaking and cooking times to become edible. Maya cooks would often start the beans cooking in the morning for an evening meal, tending the fire, and adding water as needed throughout the day. But the effort was worth it. Tipari beans provided complete proteins and could be stored for years without spoiling. They were often ground into flour for making flatbreads or mixed with corn to create more nutritionally complete meals. The Maya understood that these beans were essential for survival during lean times. The beans were also incredibly versatile. They could be cooked whole in stews, mashed into pastes for spreading on tortillas, or ground into flour for baking. Different varieties had different flavors and textures, allowing Maya cooks to create variety even when ingredients were limited. From beans, we moved to another plant protein that was even more versatile. Pumpkin seeds weren't just snacks. They were a crucial source of protein, healthy fats, and minerals that were difficult to obtain from other sources. The Maya used pumpkin seeds in ways that modern nutritionists are just beginning to understand. The most common preparation involved roasting the seeds over coals until they were crispy and flavorful. This simple process made the seeds more digestible and concentrated their flavors. Roasted pumpkin seeds could be eaten as is, ground into paste for sauces, or mixed with other ingredients to create more complex dishes. Pumpkin seed paste was particularly important in Maya cuisine. The ground seeds created a rich, nutty paste that could be used as a base for sauces, mixed with chocolate for drinks, or spread on tortillas like peanut butter. This paste was incredibly nutritious, providing proteins, healthy fats, and minerals in a concentrated form. The Maya also used pumpkin seeds medicinally. They understood that the seeds had properties that helped with digestive issues and other health problems. This integration of food and medicine was typical of Maya culture, where nutrition and health were considered inseparable. But seeds and beans weren't the only plant proteins the Maya relied on. Mushrooms provided another source of protein and nutrients, but Maya mushroom preparation required extensive knowledge to avoid poisonous varieties. The Maya developed sophisticated techniques for identifying, preparing, and preserving edible mushrooms. Fresh mushrooms were often roasted over coals or added to stews and soups. The Maya understood that mushrooms cooked quickly and could become tough if overcooked. They developed techniques for cooking different varieties of mushrooms to bring out their best flavors and textures. Dried mushrooms were equally important, especially during seasons when fresh varieties weren't available. The drying process concentrated the flavors and made the mushrooms shelf-stable for months. Dried mushrooms could be rehydrated in stews or ground into powder for flavoring other dishes. From mushrooms, we moved to a preparation that combined multiple ingredients into a complete meal. Tamales weren't just special occasion food. They were portable, nutritious meals that could be prepared in advance and eaten without additional cooking. The Maya developed dozens of different tamale varieties using whatever ingredients were available. The basic technique involves spreading masa, corn dough, on corn husks or banana leaves, adding fillings, then wrapping and steaming the packages. This cooking method kept the masa moist while allowing the flavors of the fillings to penetrate throughout. The result was a complete meal that could be eaten by hand without utensils. Fillings varied based on availability and season. Common versions included beans, squash, chili peppers, and small amounts of meat when available. The Maya also made sweet tamales using honey, fruits, or cacao. Each variety provided different nutritional benefits while using the same basic preparation technique. Tamales were particularly valuable for travelers and workers who needed portable nutrition. They could be prepared in large batches, wrapped for transport, and eaten cold if necessary. The corn husk or leaf wrapping kept the food clean and fresh while providing natural preservation. But tamales required corn husks or leaves that weren't always available, so the Maya developed another portable food option. Pinole was essentially energy powder, ground corn mixed with other ingredients to create a nutritious meal that could be prepared instantly with just water. The basic pinole was made from toasted corn that was ground into fine powder. This powder could be mixed with water to create an instant atoll, or eaten dry for quick energy. The toasting process gave the corn a nutty flavor and made it more digestible. Maya pinole often included other ingredients for additional nutrition and flavor. Ground cacao, chia seeds, amaranth, or dried fruits were commonly added. These additions provided proteins, fats, and vitamins that weren't present in corn alone, creating a more nutritionally complete food. Pinole was particularly valuable for warriors, traders, and travelers who needed lightweight, nutritious food that wouldn't spoil. A small pouch of pinole could provide several meals' worth of nutrition while weighing almost nothing. It was the ultimate survival food for a mobile society. Finally, we come to the Maya's most important liquid nutrition beyond water. Balque wasn't just an alcoholic beverage. It was a nutritious drink that provided calories, vitamins, and minerals while being safer to consume than water in many areas. The Maya developed sophisticated fermentation techniques that created both nutrition and preservation. Balque was made from honey, water, and the bark of the balche tree, which was fermented for several days until it reached the desired alcohol content. The fermentation process created B vitamins and other nutrients, while the alcohol made the drink safer than untreated water. The honey provided quick energy and minerals, while the tree bark added medicinal compounds that aided digestion and overall health. The preparation of balche was both art and science. Maya brewers had to carefully control the fermentation process to achieve the right balance of alcohol, flavor, and nutrition. Too little fermentation, and the drink wouldn't be safe or flavorful. Too much, and it became too strong for daily consumption. Different regions developed their own variations of balche using local ingredients. Some added fruits for additional vitamins and flavors. Others included spices or herbs for medicinal properties. The Maya understood that fermented beverages could be both nutritious and therapeutic when prepared correctly. Balshi served multiple functions in Maya society. It was consumed daily as a safer alternative to water, used in religious ceremonies, and served to guests as a sign of hospitality. The mild alcohol content made it suitable for all ages, while providing the calories and nutrients needed for hard physical labor. Here's what every guy over 40 needs to understand about these Maya meals. They weren't just survival food. They were the nutritional foundation that built and sustained one of history's greatest civilizations. While we're obsessing over the latest superfood trends and expensive supplements, the Maya had figured out how to create complete, balanced nutrition from simple local ingredients. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time.